When darkness awakens from her fingertips, an ordinary girl is forced to face a deadly crisis head-on. She uses her forbidden powers to kill aliens, but she loses herself in a pool of blood. Is she a savior or an out-of-control weapon? What's even more shocking is that she can heal severely injured soldiers with her bare hands, and even revive severed limbs. As fragments of her mysterious memories continue to flash, the killing instincts of her past life collide with the benevolence of a healer in her present life. Under the watchful eye of her cousin Nicole, will she be able to harness this dark torrent? Click to witness the awakening of this subversive magic. The truth is far beyond your imagination. Ugh, I should have worn a tighter shirt. Damn bouncing breasts. I stop running and decide on ranged attacks. Not many more cries of pain. More like war cries. Might as well take the opportunity and try out my new skills that let's see. What can you do with darkness? Let's try. Drown them by covering their head. Seems to be much easier to use the magic darkness coming out of my hand than the one around. Cool, but nothing happens. Pierce their heads, they die instantly. Pierce their torsos, they die quickly. Crush them, very hard, but they die after a while. Cut off their heads, they die instantly. Let's try something more unusual. I concentrate a little more while I see a group of 3 climbing the tower of a small temple. Maybe someone is hiding at the top. Let's cut off their claws first, along with the rest of their limbs to make them fall. After a little effort on my part and some screams of pain on theirs, they fall. Let's continue the experiments. I pull the darkness inside one of them hard into the ground, greatly accelerating their fall, leaving a crater and a lot of their blood behind. 'Tis not acid. Why would their blood be acid? More strange thoughts. I should go to a temple to get checked out later. His body looks relatively intact, though. Now. Oh, someone stole my prey. Wait, prey? That thought leaves me a bit cold. Why am I playing with them? I should be using the time to help people, not testing my new skills. Well, I guess I helped a lot with the large number I killed, but at some point, I stopped paying attention to the whole emergency situation and started having fun. That's not like me. How scary. I definitely need to think about that. I'll ask Nicole later. For now, let's continue with the purge, this time getting closer to where there's more noise. Back to the present. They're more fragile than I thought. How are the guards doing? I thought after a few minutes of hunting. Let's see. Over there. I followed the sound of the next battle. 5 minutes later, I arrived at a small square to see. Corpses deus. Oh, that's why there were fewer cries of pain. I was very focused before, so I ignored what most of my senses were telling me, as I'm used to, but now that I'm here, I'm assaulted by the strong metallic stench of blood. Before I can hold my nose, I'm pulled out of my thoughts by the distinctive roar I'm getting accustomed to. On the other side of the square, I see several knights fighting one of the creatures, much larger than the others, maybe 15 feet tall and almost twice as long. Instead of an elongated head, it has a kind of crown of black antlers, blacker than coal, and several arms and tails. Just as earlier, I move before I can think of anything, as I see one of the thing's tails shatter a knight's shield, along with its arms, making the distinctive and unpleasant snap and crack of breaking bones. And before the giant claws of one of its arms finish the job, I arrive that I must have been more mentally tired than I thought I was, because I just used my magic-enhanced shoulder to push the creature a few feet instead of using a real attack, which gave the injured guy time to be dragged away by his companions. But in turn, even though I managed to push the monster a little, it reminded me that it's a bad idea to get within range of huge, multi-limbed monsters with sharp teeth and claws. This one is all 4 of those things and more, and I'm right next to it. As soon as I could see 2 of the tails almost reaching for me, I managed to create a shield of darkness that kept it from stabbing me, but I still shot out into the street. I feel an intense pain in my chest, which only gets worse as I roll down the street. This is no time to test body to body, idiot. The quick turn of events, the pain in my chest, the strong smells and sounds that I suddenly became painfully aware of, make me act on instinct again, following the movement of my hand. My mind comes back to clarity as I see dozens of spears of darkness shoot out of the ground, impaling the creature all over its body. But with no time to observe the situation, I have to force my body to move, for although it is dead, the momentum it had when it came at me at full speed without my knowledge still makes its extremely heavy body about to fall on me. I manage to throw myself aside in time. But, ah damn it. Ah dash. UGH. The sudden movement forces me to scream again from the pain, which is not very kind to the fracture in my chest. As I remain on my knees, bearing the pain and trying not to move much while breathing, one of the knights appears beside me. "Miss, are you all right? Let me take a look," he says as he tries to turn me around by the shoulder, causing me to groan even more in pain. "Arg, I think that thing broke my sternum. I can heal it, don't touch me." I yell back. "Stir what? Never mind, do you need help?" The guy says, pulling his hand back. Now I feel bad for yelling at him. His metal armor looks pretty heavy, so maybe he couldn't help being so rough earlier. Wait, can I heal myself? Why did I say that? Surprised, I open my eyes wide when, just like a while ago, just like when I awakened my darkness, I feel some confidence and clarity enter me. I point my hand at myself, throwing some darkness at my chest, while I recreate in my mind the image of the same magic numbing my nerves, picking up the scattered bone shards, catching the broken and cracked pieces of a slightly sunken breastbone in the middle of my chest, tying it back to the ribs, putting it back in place, repairing muscles, nerves, veins, and tissue, and finally connecting it all back together, somehow knowing that I have left it much stronger than it ever could have been. Wow. I think, a little shocked, at the same time as the knight from earlier says the same thing, still looking at my chest too much. Actually, hey, I don't know how the hell I did this myself, but stop staring at my breasts. Cough, cough. I cough a little as I slowly stand up, checking for pain. The guy comes out of his daze and quickly looks away from my slightly torn clothes, reminding him where the hell we are. Seeing several bodies strewn about brings him back to duty. "Miss, please help my wounded comrades, at least enough to get them out of danger, I beg you," he says as he lowers his head and puts one knee on the ground. I never cared much for social ranks, but I'm sure a knight is at least 1 or 2 steps above a commoner like me. Sometimes they are nobles themselves. But while I would normally be paralyzed by someone like that bowing to me, this time I don't even answer him as I run over to the rest of the group. 2 knights holding a guy with a severed arm, while other one presses hard on the wound. At the same time, several others inspect the fallen, and the guy with the broken arms just sits on the side and tries to hold back his grunts. I feel like I could make it grow back, but I shouldn't experiment too much now, and I guess there will be a lot of injured people out there. Sorry, sir, but I'll save my strength and do the minimum. Let me see. I ask for space to see properly. A clean cut on the forearm, near the elbow, obviously a lot of blood. Good. Not good at all, but not as bad as his screams make it sound. I completely push the knight away who is trying to stop the bleeding as I push the darkness into what's left of his arm, stopping the bleeding. I guess they heard me or were watching me as none of them say anything and just watch me work. Just like before, it's as if my body is moving on its own, but at the same time it's not as if I'm possessed. It's just me directing the magic, as if I've done it before, but forgot. For the 1000th time today, this is no time to be distracted, say not in this case. For quick treatment, and without the rest of the arm in sight, maybe it's best to cut even a little more of the arm, this time from the junction at the elbow, leaving some skin I can use to close the wound. I repeat the same as before, relocating nerves, vessels, tissue, glue, strengthen. Phew. I let out a sigh when I'm done. It's kind of annoying and stressful, but very satisfying at the same time, to see that he's no longer bleeding and screaming, though he still looks very disturbed. I wish I had regular healing magic. They say you just cast a preset spell, and it'll heal on its own. Something inside me tells me that my method is more accurate, versatile, and useful overall. Sorry, I say. I think you could have put it back together, but there's no time. I hear Mara's church can regrow limbs, if you can afford it. I say absent-mindedly, looking around for any other major injuries. That's more than enough. You have my thanks. A voice behind me says, it's the nice gentleman from before. He seems to have finished analyzing the big Xeno. I guess the guy I treated isn't in the mood for conversation, that I walk over to the knight with the broken arms to do the same to him as I did to myself, while the others continue the conversation. Marcus. Report, Captain. 8 survivors relatively unharmed. 17 casualties. Red flare over there. We look in the direction he is pointing, and indeed there is a trail of red smoke rising into the sky, red being an emergency signal, if I remember correctly. I help the young knight to his feet, this time only healing his broken bones together as they would have done naturally, to save energy, although I don't feel my magic diminishing in the slightest. We will honor the fallen when the battle is over. Move. Yes, Captain. He looks at me. Miss, I shouldn't ask a civilian to fight too, but your skills will be very useful. You will be rewarded if lead the way. I reply, interrupting him. Right? As we hurry through the deserted streets, I noticed that this time I didn't mind to interrupt someone while they were talking. Adrenaline, maybe? Even I can tell this is no time to worry about manners. A few blocks later, we find a large group surrounding perhaps 100 creatures, encircling them in a very large circle of blue fire. Ah. I look around. The knights I came with are gone. I guess they joined the many wizards, knights, soldiers, and other people whose job I don't understand. Huh. Even though they're keeping them at bay, they don't seem to be doing them much harm. I can also make out some of the bigger ones, like the one who beat me up among the black mass of hellish creatures. Sena? I turn around and see Nicole running towards me as she roughly pushes several people away. Nico, OW, 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 OW. Stop. I reply as she suddenly tugs my ear a little. Even though I say it's only a little, fox ears are very sensitive. Imagine someone tugging your nipples. Well, it's something like that. What are you doing here? Calm down. And let me go? I can kill them. Look, I say, showing her a ball of darkness I create in the palm of my hand, while with the other hand I rub my poor battered ear, which she lets go at the sight of my hand. It's been ages since I've heard her scream. I guess she was worried to see me here, which warms my heart, but at the same time makes me a little scared by her very unusually loud voice. You woke up another magic. Yes, I can also use it to heal, somehow, I say, reassured by her expression, which suddenly changed from a frown to an excited one, that brings her back to her senses. You've been hurt, she states, not asks, seeing my disheveled hair and fur and torn, dirty clothes. Yes, sorry, I got careless and one of the big ones hit me. I managed to protect myself, but it still threw me away, but I healed myself. Look, I lift up my sweatshirt and shirt, or what's left of them. My pink bra is a little frayed in the middle, but otherwise my skin is flawless, a little dirty at best. We're outside Damn it. I was so relieved to see Nicole that I forgot we were in the middle of the main street. I guess most of the attention is on the creatures trapped in the fire, but there are still people around. No. Let me see properly, my cousin says as she lifts my clothes again and looks closely at my skin. Triple AH. By our screams, I can now see several people looking at me. Many of them go on their way or look away, but some of them are clearly looking at me. I'm fine, that's enough. Luckily, she lets me go after a few seconds, but my red face won't return to its normal color anytime soon. I have to make sure. My aunt will kill me if something happens to you. She slowly regains her lazy look. I told you I'm healed, right? Well, yes, but you're the type to hide your problems behind a smile. What are you all waiting for here anyway? I look away and change the subject. There are too many of them to kill all at once, but at least we found out that they are afraid of the hottest fire. That's why the blue flames, we managed to corner them. But to keep going like this is very tiring, so to avoid deaths, we mages will take turns to keep the flames going until more help arrives. We both look at the black mass of death writhing in the circle of fire. From the rooftops, I killed everyone I could see, but there might be more out there. I'll help, I tell her. Oh, I need to see that, she says, following me closer to get an unobstructed view. That's quite a lot. I feel like I still have quite a bit of magic left, but when I use natural darkness, I don't feel any depletion. I guess I'll save some more. I reach out my hand towards the mass of Xeno whatever they are called and picture a sharp sword in my mind. I think that should work, but I've never held a sword before, so the magic might not be as sharp and strong as it should be. So, let's focus on something more familiar. I recreate the image of the sharpest thing I've ever seen, a concertina wire. The cut scars on my dad's and my brother's hands have always been a reminder to me never to go near that devil's razor-covered wire. Who could have thought of something so evil? Regular barbed wire can do the job just fine. remembering that time I helped bandage my brother's blood-dripping hand. A very thin blade of dark magic appears, about 30 feet long, only around 1.5 feet off the ground. When I think it is solid enough, I throw it at the legs of the creatures. It works like a charm. Ignoring the roar that changes from anger to pain, I concentrate half of my mind on pushing as hard as I can, and the other half on keeping the magic within the circle of fire. With such a long blade, it would be easy for me to end up cutting some idiot that stands too close to the fire. After only a few minutes of effort, I managed to cut off the legs of all the monsters, even killing a few unlucky ones who had their huge heads too close to the ground. Well, at least that will make them much more vulnerable. I'll rest for a bit and go help the wounded. I sigh and decide to sit down on the ground. That was amazing. I saw a steel sword bounce off their skin earlier. Nicole says as we watch everyone start shooting at the monsters. Wait, that really wasn't too hard. Should I have cut higher and killed them? Well, never mind. It's cool, isn't it? But what did you have in mind when you made the sword? It was very strangely shaped, the razor wire from the barnyard at home. I explain. She doesn't answer me. Instead, she gives me a look of understanding, turns around a bit, pulls down her clothes and shows me her bare shoulder, where you can see a small old scar, just under an inch long. I see what you mean. I got this when I was a kid. Wow. At least it's barely visible, so don't worry. Wait, we've bathed together countless times. You've never seen it before, she asks. I got distracted every time, I answer, unable to look her in the eye anymore. I almost always turn my back to you in the shower. I try to reply, but if you've already lost, you should stop fighting. You'll only embarrass yourself more. Never mind. I'll help. See you later. I walk away before she can speak. While running away from Nicole, I walk along the edge of the large square, trying my best to ignore the chaos in the center. I don't have to look far as I manage to see several people being carried and dragged towards a shop with a large glass display of makeup, creams, and a bunch of little things. Oh, is it a pharmacy? That makes sense that I hurry to the place. On the way, I find a couple of long-eared, pajama-clad men trying to lift a human man onto some sort of makeshift rescue stretcher. I approach. Let me help, I say as I pull the darkness from under the ground to gently lift the man. He's unconscious, though the movement of his chest shows he's still breathing. There are no obvious wounds, but his chest is covered in blood. Put it down. I point to the stretcher. As they do so, pulling him from each side, I gently drop the man. No matter how well or poorly I did the job, it's a lot better than rolling him onto the stretcher like they were trying to do. I continue on to the pharmacy, letting a woman with a couple of children on her back in and walk in behind her. This place is much bigger than it looks from the outside. Dozens of people of different races are lined up on the floor. Many people are running all over the place. They shouldn't run like that. They just create more chaos. Idiots. There are more medics than I thought. Of course, I don't just stand at the entrance like an idiot. As I walk, I can see the characteristic light green glow of the light magic healing at 3 points of the place. Well, I'll take my chances. I'll follow my new instincts and go heal those who seem to be in the worst shape. Hey, Vixen, you're in the way. Get out of here. It might look like I'm wandering around, but I'm looking for a certain place. I don't bother answering the rude old man because I found it. I've read that in this country it's customary to separate those who can be saved from those who can't in emergency situations like this. And sure enough, there are 8 people practically abandoned at one end of the room. Although to call the pile of flesh barely alive is a very kind thing to say, that at least they had enough morals not to pile them on top of each other like garbage. Okay, let's get to work. Both legs gone and minor wounds all over the body. Can I regenerate new tissue? Yeah. Well, let's just close up the wounds. Crushed intestines, let's regenerate. Lots of broken bones, same old, same old. Broken and swollen skull, let's repair the bone, regenerate and get that blood flowing. Okay. Before I can continue, the old man grabs me hard, for an old man, by the shoulder, turns me around and starts yelling. Only healers here. Don't you dare use your filthy magic here. Filthy magic? I'm healing them. Sir. I reply, trying to be nice to him for being an older person, doing my best to ignore the saliva coming out of his mouth. Luckily, most of it falls on himself. Like you can do anything with that charcoal-colored thing. Somebody. Get her out of here right now. I decide that saving lives is more important than paying attention to the old man. Let's see. More missing limbs. Let's close. I guess the mm. I'll call them Xenos, although they're clearly different. Yes, Xenos seem to like to cut off limbs and hit or throw people away, which causes a quick death, but also similar injuries if you survive. After only a few minutes, I finished the treatment of the supposedly unsalvageable. Luckily, none of them died. Although only one of them might be the same as before, I feel I could leave them completely healthy. But let's focus on quantity and not quality for now. I move around the place looking for another person I can help. Unfortunately, the old man doesn't seem to be calming down. In fact, he's yelling louder and louder. What are you waiting for? I gave you an order. Move and get her out of here. That was too loud to ignore. Luckily, the men are more concerned with carrying the wounded than pleasing the guy, especially after they take one look at me and realize that I'm helping just fine. I've decided I'm going to show respect to those who deserve it, not those who are supposed to deserve it just because they're old. I hate to use bad words, even if it's just in my head, but that st*pid senile, fossilized f** king b** starred is pissing everyone off. Ugh, sorry mom. I had to release pressure. I can feel a good amount of power from him. He must be someone important, but that doesn't give him the right to act like an idiot. Well, let's get him out of here first. I quickly approach. Okay, I started wrong. Be more assertive, me. Excuse me, sir, but please leave. Are those the right words to use when you are ordering someone? Doesn't matter, I sounded more submissive than I intended, but that doesn't stop me from grabbing his arm and pulling him out. He has slightly longer ears than your average elf, like countless species, so I'm not sure what he is. Maybe a half-elf? There are a lot of them around here, but physically he's no different than your average human elder, so I drag him out the door without a problem. AGR, you don't know who I am. Let go of me right now, Vixen. Ignore, ignore, ignore. After dodging some annoying but weak and slow punches, I manage to get him to the front door, then I throw him out of the pharmacy. Nicole comes running in. Wasn't she exterminating Xenos? Although, she looks tired. I couldn't tell earlier because she always has a lazy attitude. What are you doing? She asks as she helps the guy to get up after I threw him into the street. He's in the way. That's no reason to dash. Don't touch me, be *tch. The guy cuts her off, shoving her as hard as he can, which doesn't even make Nicole take a step back, but she seems to have felt the blow. Enough of that. My name Dash. I interrupt him and his consciousness this time. A little bit of darkness in his brain stem is very effective in making the old man finally stop talking. Nicole and I just stand there and watch as he falls to the ground with a thud, accompanied by the crunch of something breaking. Wow, did he break a bone just like that? Well, old people are fragile, but I remember having a human neighbor who rode a bicycle when he was over 100 years old. There was also my stubborn grandmother, when she was still alive. I remember how she hated being taken care of, so when no one was looking, she would try to do who knows what on her own, which caused her to fall down the stairs of the house several times. She would get bruised, but she never broke anything as far as I know. Hey, what did you do to him? Says Nicole as she bends down to check on the guy, simply moving him into a better position when she notices he's breathing. He pushed you, and never mind, he will be fine. Talk to you later. I'll keep helping, bye. I run away, damn. Did I overreact? No. I mean, yes, but that's not important now. He deserved it, the rude old geezer. Besides, he reminded me too much of a certain old doctor. I start working, but unexpectedly, although there are plenty of wounded, there aren't as many as I thought, even though we're very close to the academy and thus where the Xenos came from. But remembering all the bodies scattered outside, I guess most of those unlucky enough to be in close range didn't survive. You can never really be at 100% health, so I keep moving, helping even those with minor injuries and reinforcing the healing of those I left behind with the bare minimum to tend to someone in worse shape. I notice Nicole come in and sit down near the entrance, on one of the platforms that displays things in front of the glass windows. Since things are quieter here, I approach her. Are you okay? I check her for injuries. She's a little sweaty and her gaze is more tired than usual, but she seems fine. Yeah, but I'm tired. I haven't run this much in years. My exhausted magic doesn't help. That's good. Why are you looking at me like that? She has the look someone would have when their aunt tells them that she just chatted with someone who already died. Wait, that comparison is stupid. Nothing. I just hadn't seen you so focused before. You look like a different person. I know, right? It's a little scary. I feel like I've done this before. I answer, thinking of the familiar feeling of pulling shards of glass out of flesh as I heal the remaining hole. Let's save that for later. Why did you get into a fight with Mr. Blackwell? She leans back a little on one of the displays. Who? The old man from before. Oh, you know him? Yes. He's a former royal doctor. He used to work directly for the royal family. He still has an important position in the castle. He's also a bit famous. What? That rude old man is important. So, yes. I think he didn't like me using dark magic to heal people. He stopped working to chase me for several minutes. He kept yelling, getting louder and louder. So I took him out so he would stop making everyone uncomfortable and scared. Well, I haven't heard anything good about him. But to stop treating injured people in the middle of an emergency just to scold someone who does things differently is too much. I'll talk about him later at the castle. Maybe he'll finally give up the job to someone younger and more capable. I'm glad you got something good out of my suffering. Thank you for your sacrifice. She seems a little more cheerful, just a little. We chat, interrupting from time to time to treat a person who suddenly arrives at the pharmacy. We hear loud explosions outside. Are they soldiers? I ask, seeing the large group that has arrived and started bombing the Xenos, or what's left of them. No, they have the crest of Duke Rockagris. Who? I repeat my previous answer. Her eyes become exasperated. That's it. I'll get some books for you to study. You also need to get out more. Why would I need to know about nobles? It's not like they have anything to do with me. While there are certainly some nice ones, a lot of the sons of nobles around the academy are some pieces of, sorry again, Mom. They're not very friendly. By sheer instinct, you just beat the job of a former royal doctor. That alone will give you plenty of job opportunities, she says without changing her expression. I haven't really thought about what I want to do. I haven't found anything I'm particularly interested in, but as long as I have a job to support me, I'll be fine. Right? I have a feeling she'll scold me if I tell her that. So let's change the subject for now. Well, I don't know, but can't I just avoid meeting them as best I can? She looks at me disappointed. I don't like that face. Forgive me. She seems more serious than I thought. You're just trying to procrastinate again. You should live more in the present. That's why you keep moping about William. Oh, that hurt more than she probably intended. But even though my first impulse is to get mad at her, I know she's right. Suddenly she hugs me. Don't make that face. Forgive me. I didn't mean it, and I spoke out of turn. I'm really tired and just want to go home and sleep. It takes me a few seconds to calm down. I finally hug her back. Don't apologize. You're right. I'm sorry it took me so long to, want to change. After a few seconds we pull apart a little, still not letting go. And although it took me a little while to look into her eyes, when I did, I could see a small smile on her face. Getting that smile of pride feels good. Do you want to take a nap? I offer, patting my lap to change the subject. I'm not very good at dramatic things. And I notice the place is getting empty. Except for a few healers, those who haven't woken up and those who can't walk. Oh, she lets go of me and lies down in my lap. Then she begins to caress my legs. Oh well, I offered. When was the last time we cuddled like this? We sleep together from time to time, but she's rarely clingy. A few minutes later, I feel her breathing slow down as she falls asleep. This is nice, my best and only friend and family trusting in me enough to let me take care of her in the middle of a war zone. Well, even if I said war zone, I don't hear any Xeno anymore. And, wait, if any wounded come in, I'll have to wake her up. Well, whatever it is, if it's not really serious, I'll leave it to the other unknown healers. For now, I just have to take care of this puppy. Cousin. I've spent the last hour stroking Nicole's hair and playing with her ears. I've discovered that when I gently touch the fur that is slightly longer at the tips, her ear does a little twitch. I can only compare it to how some animals shake to chase away mosquitoes. It's adorable and funny. Do mine do that too? But that could wake her up very quickly, so I'll hold off. Besides, my gut tells me that something very troublesome is about to happen. Suddenly, I hear a lot of footsteps coming this way. I put some earmuffs made of dark magic around Nicole's ears so I don't wake her, and pray that whoever is coming It isn't because of my fault. There's the B*TCH. Arrest her. Of course, I hate being right all the time. Just kidding. The old man whose name I forgot is there, with several knights behind him. Really? You wake up and the first thing you do is seek revenge. How on earth did he get such an important position by being so selfish? Wait, maybe it makes sense. There are precedents, like some of my classmates. This time they don't ignore him and rush towards me. We are relatively close to the entrance, so I didn't have much time to react. I just saw some men much bigger than me approaching with angry faces. And the next thing I see is the said knights being pressed to the ground by dark magic. What am I doing? I panicked as I heard the sound of swords being drawn. Luckily, before anything else happens, Nicole stands up while yawning. Oh, looks like I lost my concentration and stopped covering her ears. I should practice more. You dare. The old man starts, but Nicole cuts him off. Anderson Blackwell, what are you doing? She asks as she stretches a bit. At least someone is quiet here. You're Nicole, huh? That King Vixen attacked me. Twice now. I'll have her killed for daring to touch me. Calm down. I heard you were in the way and disturbing the order, so she was obligated to forcibly take you out. As for what just happened, it was clearly in self-defense, she replies calmly. Getting in the way? Me? Do you know who I am, Dash? He pretends to cough suddenly. Obviously she knows who you are. She called you by name earlier. I won't stand for Dash. You're someone who screams at the top of your lungs in an area where injured people are recovering. You know what? Let's take this outside. She takes my hand, and we leave the place. The knights retreating in fear? Wow, the guy says something, but we ignore him and walk to one of the nearest benches in the square, and as we settle in, we notice that he decides to follow us, but not before he makes a face that makes him look like he's going to explode with anger any time. Don't think you can. He starts to say something, but Nicole cuts him off for the third time today. Embezzlement, abuse of authority, obstruction of education, accepting bribes, just to name a few. You want me to go on? I could add dereliction of duty, slander against magic, and obstructing a healer during an emergency with what happened today. You're pretty active for your age, don't you think? He suddenly turns pale. Why, you know, Dash. Yes, the kingdom knows what you've done, and by unjustly threatening a relative of a royal court mage with death just because she dared, as you said, to defend herself, you've just given us the go-ahead to investigate all of your and your family's properties. How nice of you. Now you, she points to the knights, make yourselves useful and arrest him, unless you want to answer a few questions, like why you were so dutifully helping the former royal doctor. Oh, Nicole looks so cool. How unusual. She hadn't finished speaking when a knight had already gagged the old man. What was his name again? Blackwell? No, that's his last name. Well, who cares? Another gentleman had his hands tied behind his back with, what are those? Some metal circles that were attached to his hands. How cool. Some kind of new manacles? The word handcuffs come to my mind. What's going on? Nicole's voice pulls me out of my reverie. I lift my head to see her worried expression. Damn words that keep popping into my head. I couldn't even enjoy that idiot's arrest. Things seem to have calmed down, so I take the opportunity to ask. Remember a while ago when I said that strange words keep popping into my head? That already happened to me several times today. The word handcuffs popped up when I saw what they tied the old man's hands with. She looks surprised, then nods her head as if to confirm something. I already had my suspicions, but I highly doubt you've heard that word before, especially since the handcuffs were made very recently, and you hardly talk to anyone. That last comment was unnecessary, but I couldn't argue with it. I think you might have heard this and other words in another life. Although handcuffs have only recently been used, their mechanism is part of the knowledge left behind by people summoned from other worlds in the past. Hey, don't think about it too much, just a theory. It could be something simpler like you heard the sound they make and their name, but you ignored it as usual, and then it came back to your mind when you heard it again or something. Makes sense, but the same thing happened to me with the monsters. The word Xenos came to my mind. Even though they weren't, for some reason I expected their blood to melt everything it touched. I say, remembering how I spilled a lot of their blood. And most importantly, I suddenly knew the name of a bone that I broke and how to heal it with my new magic. That's great. Well, even if it's really stuff you heard in your past life, like I said, it's not important now. It won't change your personality or anything. It's actually relatively common, and there have been recorded cases, so don't worry too much about it. I turn to look at her. She has regained her usual bored look as she relaxes against the bench and looks down at the still smoldering remains of the Xenos. She seems to really believe it, which relieves me. Even if it is, I'm not as worried about it as I expected. It's not like it affects me except for a little confusion when it happens. I tell her to comfort her and myself. Despite everything that's happened today, I'm glad we found time to relax like this, just sitting on a bench in comfortable silence, not thinking about what we have to do later. Even if I have to make a bit of an effort to ignore the huge bonfire that is not far away. But now that I'm really calming down, the weight of events is starting to sink in. I spilled a lot of blood today. I don't really care. I saw the Xenos devour more than one person. My new magic is cool. If a little strange, I'm still excited about it. It's good. I'm not complaining. But what weighs on me the most is that I had to heal so many people. Sure, it's great that I did it. And it was gratifying to see wounds heal in seconds that would normally take months or years to heal. But I hated having to do it. I don't even want to think too vividly about what I saw today. So I'll sum it up by saying that I saw too much of a lot of things that are normally under the skin. I hate blood, and my new instincts and need to help force me to see a lot of it today. And most disturbing, my new instincts. The ones to heal are still fine. That can't be bad. But suddenly knowing the best ways to take the life of something is terrifying. I saw a Xeno approaching me, and my mind said things like, just kill it, and it will go away forever. Use one of 1,000 possible ways to separate its head from its body. Or, feel that slimy thing on the side of its chest? Destroy it, and the job is done. Or impale it, so that even if it doesn't die it's no threat. Or cut off its legs, and it'll stop running. If they really are experiences from another life, what kind of wild life did I have? Somehow, something inside me tells me that I should be so grateful that I can't remember. You need to take a break, Nicole says suddenly. I look at her. A break? Aren't we resting now? As if reading my mind, she replies. I mean a break from everything, from academics, from your hobbies, from me, from people. I don't want to. I'm surprised that my voice suddenly sounds so tired. Is it because I've calmed down? Even though it's been over an hour since I stopped doing anything important, my mind was very alert, but I guess the crisis has passed. What? She turns to look at me. I get depressed when I have nothing to do. I knew that, but I think you'll be okay. She gives me a little smile that I raise an eyebrow at her assurance. How can you be so sure? We are similar. I have noticed that some problems become much smaller when you get tired of thinking about them so much. I think you are at that point now. I think about her words for a moment before I answer her. Yes, I am tired of being depressed. Do I look that tired? Right now? You look like a mess. You usually look good, but you would look better if you smiled more. You know what I mean. And you think that by making me depressed I'll smile more. No, I think if you take a break, you'll see that it's not as easy to get depressed as it used to be, she corrects me. Should I listen to her? I really don't want to, but if I keep doing the same things, it won't change anything. Screw it, I'll try. Well, I will. Anyway, I doubt there will be classes for a while. I say as I look in the direction of the academy. There are still several layers of buildings, so I can't see the details, but I'm sure it had more towers yesterday. We have to close a wound like this before we can move on. Even if the academy had been intact, a lot of people have died. The city won't be the same for a while. Is still a comfortable silence, but it feels more charged than before. Nicole, my dearest person. What? I really want to go home and sleep. I think I'm being too optimistic when I assume that I'll be able to sleep after seeing so much blood, but if I'm going to burst into tears or whatever, I'd rather do it in my bed and not here. Well, okay, I have to go to the castle now. I suppose there will be a lot to do. Her face tells me that she really wants to come with me. Heh, she's rarely so expressive. Thank you. I'll be off then, I say, standing up and stretching when I feel my tail being grabbed. I turn and see my tail in her face. Sorry, do you know how to get back? I try to sniff around a bit. Bad idea. All right, one more try. Do your best to ignore 99% of the smells around here. There it is, our home. It's not that far. Even though I've been running for hours, too many detours, I guess. Hee. I look at my cousin, and she's looking at me with an even more relaxed face than usual and a small smile on her face as she rests her head on her hands and her elbows on her knees. What? I mimic her earlier response. You look cute sniffing the air like that. Bye. I ignore the cheerful wagging of her tail and leave. Half an hour of walking later, I'm back at home. Before I enter, Galito greets me. So, you're okay. I'm glad. I say, not even bothered that he came back to peck at my legs. I just put him back in his garden and go into the house. I'm in no mood to think too much, so I grab something nice, a pair of comfortable gray cotton panties with a few ruffles and a lightly padded black bra. Why do I bother describing my underwear? I guess it's my hobby. I go back downstairs to get some water, and while I'm here I take a shower in the bathroom. I won't worry about it. I'll leave my laundry here till tomorrow. After a shower in the first floor, a much longer one this time, I don't bother to put on anything but my underwear and lay down on the couch in the living room. Too lazy to go upstairs again. I open my eyes. That was a good nap? I'm surprised I didn't have any nightmares. Oh well. I look over to the window. It's dark. Did I sleep the rest of the day? It's unusual for me to have such a comfortable nap, like the simpler old days. Unfortunately, the next time I open my eyes, it's because I'm woken up by the cold. Damn it. I touch my stomach. It's freezing. Don't sleep almost naked in the middle of the living room, you idiot. With this horrible feeling of being tired but still having to get up early, I go to my room, grab a blanket, and throw myself on my bed. At least I can go back to sleep again without having to worry about anything. After tucking myself in, I hug my tail and close my eyes again. I'm woken up by Galito, who starts to sing at the top of his tiny lungs. I try to go back to sleep, but I'm starving. What time did I go to sleep yesterday? 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I get cleaned up and go to Nicole's room. She hasn't arrived yet? My condolences. I go down to the kitchen, still in my underwear, and put on an apron. Let's see. In the refrigerator there is turkey, chicken and beef meat, bacon, various cheeses, milk, vegetables. In the drawers there is bread, rice, lots of jams, spices, oils, pasta, almonds, macadamia nuts, cashews nuts, black nuts, walnuts, and several jars of unlabeled nuts. Nicole just loves nuts. Well, lots of good ingredients, but meh. I'm still a little lazy and a lot hungry. Some bacon, eggs, and toasted nuts bread will do. The most important meal of the day, serving it up, Gary's way. Who the hell is Gary? I quickly finish cooking, pour myself some orange juice, and sit down at the table. Classic breakfast ready. When I hear some keys being pushed into the door, I sniff a little. Nicole has arrived. She must have been busy the whole night, so I'm going to prepare something nice for her. I put my plate aside, to the protest of my stomach, and decide to indulge her a little. I know. I take 5 chicken breasts, not too thick, and put them on a rectangular baking casserole, over some grape oil, some cream cheese, salt, black pepper, and bacon bits on top, surround with cheddar cheese and a sprinkle of parsley. Good night. Nicole mumbles as she walks into the living room next to the kitchen. Before you go to sleep, come and eat. I put the lid on the casserole and put it in the oven, which I had turned on before getting everything ready. I watch as Nicole shuffles into the kitchen. I go back to my own plate and finally start to fill my empty stomach. When I realize I didn't make the healthiest breakfast for Nicole, I put my plate away again and cut up some carrots, tomatoes, and zucchini and put them in the oven as well. When I turn around, I see that Nicole is eating my breakfast. Leave that. I'm hungry too. It'll be ready in 20 minutes. I stop her hands. At least I give her a slice of bread with nuts to appease her hunger. Haven't you slept at all? Just a few naps here and there, she says, nibbling at her bread. So how bad was it? I chatter between bites. Over 5,000 dead and still counting. Luckily it fell on the academy, so the resident staff attracted quite a bit of attention from the horde. We did well compared to the Carrion Kingdom. 5,000 dead for a city with a population of around 10 million. If we were to speak only in terms of numbers, we certainly did well, although she did not mention the number of injured. Oh, they fell there as well. The Kingdom of Carrion is a neighboring country to this one, the Kingdom of Tsirin, further towards the center of the continent. They are very similar kingdoms and practically ruled by the same royal family. Yes, you know which is the Kingdom of Carrion, don't you? She looks at me with accusing eyes. Why, yeah. I don't care much for nobles, but at least I remember the names of the most important countries. Don't look at me like that. You didn't know the most important duke in the kingdom. Ugh. I know a bit of his history, but the names of people I don't care about don't stay in my memory for long. Wait, how did you know they attacked there too? Did they fall from the sky too? And where? Assuming the meteors fell at the same time, it was about a day ago. If I remember correctly, it takes 2 to 3 days just to get to the border from here, by train. We have ways to communicate instantly over long distances. Is it ready yet? She says, looking at the oven. It smells good, but it still needs a little bit more. Wait a few more minutes. We continue to chat while she waits for her food, and I finish mine. Apparently, the Xenos fell across several countries, especially the Carrion Kingdom. Meteorites fell in the middle of cities. Well, normal cities, no academy with super strong magicians, nor several different orders of knights, nor large armies at their disposal. Ouch. Here it was contained relatively quickly, but it seems that Carrion's army will be very busy traveling to the most affected places as soon as possible. A few minutes later, I serve Nicole her meal and a glass of orange juice. I wash my dishes, looking at the adorable wagging of her tail from time to time. I'll never get tired of watching her tail. Looks like she liked the food. I'm glad. I improvised a little. Thank you for the food, she says when she's finished, lying down on the table and looking like she's going to fall asleep at any moment. Please take a bath first. You stink a bit, mage. Was her not very coherent answer. I put off washing her dishes for now to drag her down the hall to the bathroom. I'll help you. So wait a little longer. You'll be able to sleep more comfortably if you clean up first. Okay, you're not moving? Ugh, fine, I'll do it. I go to the front to unbutton her jacket and take it off. She just stands there, trying not to fall asleep. Now her shirt. Unfortunately, there are no buttons. Lift your hands. I stuttered. Although we've seen each other naked many times, I've never undressed her before. I carefully pull her shirt over her head, doing my best to avoid the pulling force on my eyes. So, now her pink bra. Her pants. Yes, better that. Or are they trousers? No matter. I need a little mental preparation. I undo the button on her trousers and pull the zipper down, giving me a glimpse of her purple lace panties. Isn't it a bit early for trousers to have zips? Hey, silly thoughts, don't interrupt me now. Her trousers are high-waisted, so I check the bottom of her tail with my hands and... Yes, there's another button there. I prefer pants with room for the tail to those with buttons and a hole in the back. They're never the right size, and I have to fix them. Oh well, I unbutton and pull them down. Get out of there, I ask as her trousers slide down her legs all the way to the floor. I pick them up and look up. Wow, you can see her, black bush through the lace of her panties. That's hot. I try not to pay attention as I pull her panties down as well, repeating the same as before, and making triple the effort to ignore a certain amazing smell that suddenly assaults my nose. Okay, stop. I should stop for a moment and calm down. I take a deep breath. Undressing someone is much more stimulating than I thought. Luckily, I don't feel like jumping on her or anything. I'm sure I'll never feel anything but familial love for Nicole and appreciation for her body. My excitement comes mainly from revealing more and more parts of her body that are usually hidden, without the other party objecting or anything like that. I stand behind her to unhook her bra and pull it forward. Now that I've calmed down a bit, I have the luxury of appreciating a nice sway it causes. Well, I'm better now. For some reason, I'm more excited to see a woman half naked than completely naked. Maybe I have an underwear fetish? No, I think it's more of a woman wearing underwear fetish. Wait, calling it a fetish might be a bit much. Anyway, I take off my own underwear, and we go into the shower. I wash and rinse her hair. I repeat the same with her tail, although more gently. I put enough liquid soap on a sponge and wash her whole body. It looks like she will fall asleep any moment, so I better ask her to sit down. This bathroom has only one room for the shower and the tub, and the latter has a quite wide edge where she can sit. Finally, I wash her feet and lead her back to the water. While I leave her to soak, I quickly wash my own body. Finally, I dry our bodies by creating a light tornado of wind and a little bit of fire magic. Doing it this way leaves our fur very fluffy and tousled, but it's more important to get her to bed as soon as possible. I just realized I didn't bring any towels or a change of clothes. I'll take my chances. There's only one window in the living room facing the street, with the curtains half open. Well, it can't be helped. Come on. We cross the hall to the living room and quickly, with words of encouragement from me, go upstairs, which of course had to be right in front of the window. Praying that no one would walk by and see our naked butts, I led Nicole to her bed, and as soon as she touched it, she started to snore lightly. You did your best. I stroked her head a little. First of all, I go to my own room to get some panties to finally cover my butt and a bra. I liked what I wore, so I'll go for the same, but this time I'll combine top and bottom in red. Now back to the other room. What is the most comfortable way for someone to sleep? I go through her drawers until I find one with her underwear. Some cotton panties will do. As for the bra, I take a look at her breasts. F-cup. Yes, a little tight, but not too tight, and one that is elastic. Oh, she has one of those pillow bras, but even though they're supposed to be comfortable, I don't like them. The weird thing in the middle of my chest keeps me from sleeping. Maybe it's just a matter of getting used to it, but she doesn't seem to wear this one much either, so I'll play it safe. A sports bra is best. Let's get her dressed without touching too much. Slowly, step by step, huh? How is it easier to dress her when she's lying down than when she's standing up and cooperating? Okay, I just put this through her arms, head, lift her up a bit, and done. Bra in place. Her being upside down helps a bit, unexpectedly. Since when can I lift her so easily? Have I become stronger? Something to check later. Now the panties. Even easier. I pull them up over her legs and lift her hips a bit. Finally, I turn her over so that she lies on her side. Should I take care of her skin too? Better not. It might wake her up. A light blanket on top and ready. Sweet dreams. That was exhausting in many ways, but I really liked the feeling of taking complete care of someone you love very much. You know what? The day is still starting. I'm going to take that time off now. I go back to my room. I don't want to think about anything complicated, so I grab a simple black tank top to show a bit of cleavage, white shorts to show the shape of my bottom, and brown combat boots that I look at myself in the mirror. Right. I urgently need a hairbrush and another one for my tail. Also, not my best thought-out outfit, but whatever. When I am done, I go to the kitchen to get a big glass of water for when she wakes up. Waking up thirsty or wanting to go to the bathroom ruins the mood early in the day, which is something to avoid if you can. I leave the house after taking our clothes to the laundry room and doing the dishes. Will there be any restaurants open? Maybe everything is closed with what happened. Or not. I guess I'll just walk around looking for a good smell.
If you too have been poked in the heart by this story, don't forget to click the subscribe button to be the first to take you on an immersive experience with the next update. After all, our story is never finished.